everyone, Mike here from AutoGuide, and today we're going to talk Lincoln. So when the manufacturer stopped making passenger cars many years ago, the brand made sure it had a full line of SUVs available for its customers. This included a two-row midsize, something a lot of competitors don't offer. Back then it was called the MKX, and it's over time become the Nautilus. So I've grabbed the latest version of the SUV to see if it still offers all of the usual Lincoln traits of luxury and comfort above everything else, but with a modern twist. Oh hey, I am quickly interrupting this review, and no, it's not to sell you something, and no, this is not an ad. It's just a heads up that my microphone, well, it pretty much crapped out during this review. When I'm driving, there were more pops and bangs than someone with a straight pipe on a Volkswagen Jetta. So I've tried to put in some subtitles and clean it up as best as I can, but it's not great, so just bear with me, because the good news is I did buy a new microphone that is so much better. Anyway, please enjoy this video, and be rest assured going forward my voice, whether you like it or not, will be clear in all my future reviews. The Nautilus is easily recognizable as a Lincoln on the outside, as it has all the usual design cues. In fact, I would say the brand's really found a great identity now, as this isn't the most stylish vehicle out there, but it does look really good in a conservative, sophisticated kind of way, which I think is what customers of the brand are looking for. My tester is finished in Blue Panther exterior paint, although I've never seen a Blue Panther, but maybe they exist. It also has 21-inch wheels that are a standalone option, upgraded from the 19-inch wheels, which on this car are actually replacing other 20-inch wheels that are part of a package, but more on that later. It also has the glowing Lincoln Star up front, which is all the rage these days to have a glowing front badge. At well under 200 inches in length, the Nautilus isn't a big SUV, but there is a ton of space inside, which is important because this is a vehicle meant for passengers, even maybe more so than the driver. For example, rear seat passengers get almost 40 inches of headroom and 43.5 inches of legroom. That's a pretty spacious back seat, and it means that the Nautilus can hold 4 full-size adults in complete comfort, and even having to put 3 back there in a pinch isn't too bad for a short trip. And by complete comfort, I don't just mean space. The seats themselves are so comfortable to sit in. Up front, I have a 24-way adjustable driver's seat. Yes, 24-way. And the best part is the bolsters on both the seat cushion and the seat back inflate and actually kind of hug me in place after I start the vehicle, and then when I turn it off, they deflate, letting me get in and out of the vehicle easier. Now, I'm not going to make too many comments about that. Maybe it's designed for those further along in age that have a little less mobility, but even at my age, I appreciate it. Oh, and one last thing about space, there's 36.4 cubic feet of cargo capacity behind the rear seats. That's a pretty big cargo area for any vehicle. I can't, though, talk about the interior and not mention Lincoln's new giant display screen. So the infotainment system screen is fairly large at 11.1 inches, and that's usually sort of what's going to get the attention, but not in this vehicle, because it features the 48-inch screen that stretches basically from the A-pillar at the driver's side to the A-pillar on the passenger side. Now, 48 inches isn't like a full-blown 48-inch TV. That's how long it is, but it's only about, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 inches tall. Still, it's split into sort of 3 distinct areas, and the cool thing is on the passenger side, there are 3 separate information areas that you can customize and put whatever you want. And again, I don't want to harp on the age thing, but all of the display text and print is really large and really easy to see, and it's so easy to operate. I wish every manufacturer would look at this and see sort of the intuitive nature that Lincoln's incorporated in how this works. And even its infotainment system has that same sort of logic. It was so easy for me to program favorites and customize some options the way I want them. My favorite part of the big screen, though, is probably what's right in front of the driver information center. Because the screen sits basically on top of the dash and is pushed right up against the windshield, all my information is so easy to find. It's sort of a halfway point between a traditional gauge cluster and a head-up display. And unlike some head-up displays, there's no worry about glare or backlighting. It's just really well done. And it's not just screens that the Nautilus has an excessive number of. There's also 28 speakers with this upgraded Revel audio system. 28 speakers in a vehicle this size. That's a little overkill, but it's pretty cool. As far as controls in the interior, I know not everyone is a fan of the piano key style gear selector, but I don't mind it, and it's placed in a nice logical area that you're not going to accidentally hit it. And then underneath it are these large rectangle buttons that turn on various things you might need, like your camera, your defrost, your hazard lights, big volume knob in the middle. The infotainment screen is still way too touch dependent. The biggest issue there is that all of my climate controls are in there, which I don't like. But on the good side, Lincoln's using the sort of D-pad toggle switches for your thumbs on the steering wheel. But unlike some others, Mercedes, these are physical buttons at all the corners, and there's even little indents or protruding pieces of plastic so you can feel that your thumbs are actually on the right control without having to look down. And although they are physical buttons that I press, there's still some haptic technology built in, so when my thumb's resting on either one, on the display screen right in front of the driver pops up that control and what each of the buttons do, because in different menus they do different things. It's just such a well thought out, easy little convenience that anyone else that has these touch buttons needs to get on and actually put actual physical buttons and not just have it be swipe controls. When it comes to safety, the Nautilus has pretty much every active safety system on the market today. Things like pedestrian detection, collision mitigation, adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, rear cross traffic, all those things. But easily my favorite is it has Blue Cruise as an option, and this one has it. So I'm on the highway here, I just take my hands off the wheel. As long as I'm watching the road, the car's going to drive itself. It'll even change lanes if I need to. Just really like the system. As I've said before, and will probably say many more times, the Nautilus is more about luxury and comfort than it is performance. And that's reflected by Powertrain. Although a hybrid is available, this has the entry-level engine, which is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder that makes 250 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. Those numbers, though, are achieved with premium gas. And I'd expect a little bit more, as a lot of competitors can get similar output using just regular unleaded, and with the premium, I'd hope for, closer to the high 200s than just 250. Now that said, power is adequate for this vehicle. Even if it does weigh 4,349 pounds, this isn't designed or meant to win many drag strips. It's just meant to be able to merge with traffic up to highway speeds, and it's fully capable of that. Power is sent to all 4 wheels through an 8-speed automatic, and that transmission is, again, more than good enough for this vehicle. In fact, it's pretty smooth to shift, and the engine, when it revs, remains quiet and there isn't much vibration. But the drivetrain's performance isn't as refined as I'd like. Sometimes there's like a little hesitation or just a little jerkiness, just things you would hope are ironed out in a luxury or premium SUV at this price point. Fuel economy is sort of where you expect it to be, 21 miles per gallon in the city and 29 on the highway. I'm not going to make any comment on the brakes because this is a press car that's been driven by other automotive writers who are definitely not the target market for it, and they've probably driven it beyond its means, and the brakes are pretty shot now. The overall relaxed driving feel carries into the chassis as well. It has hydraulic shocks at all 4 corners. There's actually 2 per front corner, and they're definitely designed to offer maximum comfort over, say, road holding capability. I mean, this turns fine and is easy to drive, but if you start pushing it through a corner, that's not what it wants to do, and again, nor is it meant to. When I hit bumps, broken roads, big bumps, small bumps, it just absorbs them. It does get a little floaty, not bouncy, but that sort of old school American where it kind of goes up and down, kind of like you're in a wave, but still fairly controlled. I had no passengers during my week in this vehicle even ever once have any sort of mention or complaint about it being bumpy in here. In fact, some did comment on just how smooth it is going down the road. When it comes to options on the Nautilus, well, it's very traditional American, where you can load it up as little or as much as you want. This Reserve has the highest package, which in the States is called Package 3, but in Canada has the far less catchy name of 203A. Basically, it adds driver assist features, audio upgrades, convenience features, luxury features, exterior upgrades, interior upgrades, upgraded safety systems, and more. So basically, the entire car gets a makeover.
So some highlights that come with this package are things like Blue Cruise, Copilot Vision 2.2, the wireless charging pad, the upgraded Revel sound system, the drive modes, thicker glass for better sound insulation, the black painted roof, the light up logo that I already mentioned, 21-inch wheels, although like I said before, these have been replaced by other 21-inch wheels, Lincoln's leather wrapped comfort front seats with heat and ventilation, keypad entry, and just on and on and on. Other things in this car that I appreciate is the panoramic sunroof, the seats that I've mentioned earlier, and it's a bit of a gimmick, but it's kind of cool. In here, I have Lincoln's digital scents. So if you open up this little box here, there are 3 different scents, and I can have them spritz into the interior to give it a different mood, I guess. I haven't used them, and I don't know if I'm going to. In fact, just opening this box, I can smell them already, but if you're into that sort of thing, here they are. Ooh, they're strong. So that takes us to pricing. So the Nautilus Reserve starts in the US at $56,455, including destination charges. Fully loaded with the package 3, this one sits at $67,700, once again with destination. In Canada, it starts at $64,395, or with the package 203A and the other standalone options, it gets up to $78,745. As I mentioned at the start of this video, there aren't too many direct competitors for the Nautilus. The closest is the Lexus RX, especially if you get the RX 350 Plus all-wheel drive, as it matches up price, feature, and size-wise pretty close to this Nautilus Reserve. But as Kyle put it, the Nautilus is for someone who finds the RX too sporty, and the RX isn't really all that sporty to begin with. I guess what I'm trying to get at is the Nautilus does excel at luxury and comfort, but it's not all that interesting or really good to drive, but it is an excellent place to be as a passenger.